So yesterday we talked a lot about ahimsa, and today we're going to talk about Asteya. So, of course, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, so please forgive my mispronunciations for anything that comes out of the Yoga Sutra. Um, but one of the things that I was thinking about in general about the yamas is, a lot of times people have said to me, think of the yamas as the things that you don't do, and the niyamas, the things that you do, and so like the do's and don'ts. But I think that's misleading because um, yes, a lot of the yamas talk about what not to do. So don't be violent, don't steal, don't lie. But really, what's happening with all of the yamas is that we're trying to break free of the false reality that we are separate from all other beings. We have in our human condition this sense of, so I'm going to see if I can make that sunbeam go out of my eye. Oh, that's better. We have this we have this false reality here on this planet, and I think I've never lived in another culture, so I can't speak to that. But I imagine that this is strongly present in American culture. That we have this conditioning to think that we are not enough, that we have to have things, that we have to be consumers in all ways in order to feel a sense of safety and stability. And this is kind of ridiculous, right? And it's just our conditioning. But the purpose of the yamas is to kind of help us shed the layers of falsity so that we can come back to understanding our divine nature and the connection we have to all beings and the responsibility we have to all beings. So most of the yamas, even though they are, kind of leaning toward what not to do, they point to a sense of deficiency that is just a conditioning of the human mind. So for Asteya, the one we are going to work with today, this is non-stealing. So why might one steal? And the root of this comes from a feeling of lack, that I am not enough, that I don't have enough, that I will never be enough. We have this sense that selfishness is the only way to protect the self. And this lack of faith in our ability to create what we need for self and other is really at the root of what Asteya is trying to get to. That we need to flip that conditioning and train ourselves to believe that we are enough, that we have enough, that we are good enough, that there is no lack, that anything that we need we have and we can create. So there's this sense of desire and a need to fill an emptiness that comes with the sense of stealing. So that's just one aspect of it, to really look out for yourself. Like, what is it that you feel lacking? And when you have a powerful sensation of wanting something, where is that stemming from? Can you work with those kleshas of the roots of our suffering, where we have an aversion to things and we have attachment to things? Can you help yourself? Ooh, I don't know what just happened to my computer, but give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. So can we work with flipping this paradigm on its head? So when you feel a sense of lack, can you train yourself to be in gratitude? When you feel a sense of your integrity starting to waver a little bit about, does this belong to me or not? Can you work with kind of moving into that space of feeling abundance and enoughness? So probably nobody's going out and robbing a bank, right? So that's not the kind of stealing that is usually the issue. But think of deeper things like, are you stealing people's sentences right out of their mouths? Do you complete people's sentences for them and not wait your turn to talk? Are you listening for the sake of responding instead of listening for the sake of understanding? Do you have a sense of being late? Are you late a lot? Do you kind of make people wait for you? Um, is there, so besides stealing time and stealing things like that, do you have a sense of stealing people's energy? When you are around someone, do you kind of suck them dry sometimes? Um, are you stealing from our great grandchildren in the way you use resources of the earth? There's so many ways that you can look at Asteya. That's not just like, I'm not going to steal from my neighbor. So that's just some food for thought. But really try to understand when we move through these yamas this week around trying to understand what is the root of lack. What is it that we're trying to move away and shift off so that our divine nature can arise. And as far as the Asteya goes, our divine nature is that we are abundant and we have everything that we need, and we can share. We have the capacity to not have to hoard, that we can offer ourselves, our energy. We have renewable resources all around us and within us. So can you feel into that sense of reciprocity through your words and thoughts and actions? Okay, so let's sit up straight and tall. And again, when we start to do a lot of thinking in the beginning of our practice, when we talk about the Dharmic path, it's easy to just kind of just be all up in your head. So try to release that now and drop into your body. So feel into your breath. All right, so let's feel that the exhales can start to lengthen just a little bit longer than the inhales. Remember that beautiful sound of your breath, that internal experience of breathing is our tether to the present moment. It's our tether to this grounding sense of presence that our practice gives us. So let the breath be your guide. So allow yourself to kind of open up your sternum just a bit, a little lift, like there's just a little bit of spaciousness and lightness. And when you do this, what happens in the rest of your body? What's responding? Can you be sure to move into ease more than strain? Is there a way to scan your body and find a sense of freedom wherever you can access it? Drop your sit bones down deeply, like you have roots that connect you to the earth. And then imagine also that the crown has some roots that go upward that connect you to whatever it is that you're sensing. Okay, so we are connected. We live in a matrix that our web is interconnected with each other. So you can feel this coming out through heartstrings, through crown chakra strings, through root chakra strings. However you want to experience how you are embedded in this web. Can you allow your sensation of connection also feed you a quality of abundance? And to know that if all things are connected, then all things are possible. That when you do feel a sense of lack, that there is renewal that is possible in whatever way you are feeling lack. Let's bring our hands together and offer an intention, something around inviting in this sense of abundance, kind of reconnecting to the feeling, the truth that we are deeply connected and everything we need is right here. And if we are feeling this deep sense of connection, then if we pull on one thread and take, then somewhere else in this thread, this web, is going to feel the impact of that. So let's remember this consciousness that we're all connected and our actions and our thoughts and our words impact the entirety. Release your hands and find your way onto your back. All right, so as we come into our practice, our physical asana practice, let's see if we can also feel that our bodies are enough, that the energy we have today is enough, that our range of motion is enough, that our capacity to do certain poses is enough. All right, so reach, lengthen, and stretch. Enjoy. And when you feel ready, bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. I think I've said many times before, imagine what your 100-year-old self wishes that your today's self would offer. Okay, so you can steal from your own future in so many different ways, not just financially, but in your body, in your health, in your mental health, your physical well-being. What can you do today to not steal from your future self? Can you put a deposit in the bank instead of something that is healthy and good for your mind and body? Let's circle the knees. Go the other direction. And then open up your knees, move them away from each other and swing them back in toward each other. Just finding that sense of range of motion. What's available in your pelvis, your hip joints right now? Okay, I know it's kind of early to do this in class, but go ahead and put the soles of your feet together, a moment of Supta Baddha Konasana. Now, if nothing underneath your knees kind of makes your hips or pelvis freak out, then lift your knees up a little bit and stick your fists right at your hip joints so that you have a little support for your femur bones. And if you don't need that, just melt that away and just have a moment of opening. If your arms are free, bring them out to the sides. Breathe into the pelvis, into the belly, into the ribs. And then you can use your hands to bring your knees back together, knees into your chest, and rock a little bit again. Just nice and easy. Right knee comes in, left leg comes down onto the ground, and feel into the movement of your ankles, your toes. See what it feels like to work with just awakening a lot of that soft tissue. There's so many ligaments and tendons and muscles. See what you can feel. Change sides, left knee in, right leg long on the ground. Feel free to flex and point and roll and move with your feet. Heaviness in your head. Notice if you have innate need to pick up through your neck and shoulders and head. Okay, release that left leg, stretch out through your limbs. Starfish on the ground, spread out,
Reach into your fingers and your toes, feel your edges. Exhale, knees into your chest, pick up your head. Twice more, expand open. Try not to deny yourself your breath. Exhale all the way. One more time. Big breath in. Breath out. Head comes down. Right, relax your left foot onto the floor. Cross your right thigh over left thigh, knees toward chest. Of course, if you'd rather, you can move this into a reverse pigeon pose. So just gently warming up our hips a little bit. Feel free to rock a little bit left and right if that feels nice for your body. Sometimes movement in our beginning stretches can be a really nice way of warming tissues and letting them become a little more supple. And then release knees together. Let's lift your feet straight up in the air. You can flex and point your feet, roll the ankles again if you feel like it. And then we're going to open up our legs all the way out to the sides. And you can take your hands at the outer knees or wherever they land on your thighs to support your legs, or you can do this with no support, just like that Supta Baddha Konasana, whichever you need. Stabilize your core, let the inner thighs start to open up. Find your breath, your arms can be down at your sides, over your head, holding your legs, anything. All right, great, and the knees come back in. And let's go ahead and switch the directions of our legs. So right foot on the ground, left thigh crosses over right thigh, or left foot on right knee, reverse pigeon pose, or thigh over thigh. Whatever feels good. Again, feel free to move, feel free to be still. There is enough range of motion in your hips. The depth of anything matters so much less than your ability to feel freedom and breath in your body. So try to let go of my poses are not good enough, deep enough, strong enough, held long enough. Let go of all of those expectations of your practice and instead just move into the feeling of your pose, pose by pose. Okay, release that, stretch out to a star again, spreading your limbs wide. Exhale, knees in, chest up, come rolling over onto your side and come onto your hands and your knees. All right, so as we find all fours, take your time. Okay, so feel into the beautiful range of motion that's available in this moment with your vertebrae. Okay, so you can drop your head and tail. You can move through your body in any way that feels really good. So it doesn't have to just land in the cat-cow realm. You can move your hips around and your ribs around and your shoulder blades and your head. Just try to think less and feel more. And then when you are ready, drop back. See if you can settle your hips toward the heels, soften the skull. Feel free to rock a little bit here if you want. You can kind of sway into one hip and then the other, or move your head or shoulders around. All right. Walk your hands over to one side of the mat or the other, your choice with sides. Just drop some weight into the sit bones and feel that spaciousness that's coming into your side body. When you breathe fully, you feel abundant. There is the sense that you have enough when your breath is moving well. Even something as simple as hoarding the inhales and holding on to them and not wanting to let go of your breath is this sense of conditioning. So allow yourself to consciously let go of your inhales. Drop into those exhales and let them be full. And perhaps dance with the idea of just that momentary pause at the end of your exhale to condition your mind that even when you are empty, all is well, that there's nothing that you have to take in order to be okay, that the next breath will come, and then let it come. And when you do let that inhale come, enjoy, receive abundantly without any feeling that it's not okay that you're receiving. So sometimes that's part of the problem too, is that our lack of enoughness gives us the sense that we are not good enough to receive. So receive your inhale when it comes. Let the breath be symbolic of all of the things that we're working with. Okay, drop back towards child's pose with your toes curled under. See if you can settle through the bottom of your feet a little bit. Just get them to awaken. All right, and then release. Smack your feet on the ground if you feel inclined. And then we're going to come all the way up to a dog pose. All right, so stretch and lengthen through your body. You can have bent knees as much as you want to in this posture. You can move around in any way that feels good. Again, feel into the fullness of your breath. Let your full inhale arrive, receive it, enjoy it. And then let that exhale slowly go. Just that moment, little pause, just a tiny little pause at the bottom of the exhale. Feel empty, and then receive again. Right. Let's walk our feet forward. Fold, let your neck relax. You can bend your knees as much as you want. Inhale for a halfway lift when you feel ready, blocks or ground or legs, whatever you want to hold on to. Exhale and melt again. Soft, slow. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale. Relax. Drop your seat, rise up. Bring your arms to the sky. Take your time. Okay, get your balance, get your steadiness. And then reach up. Spread open your wings, cactus arms, feel the shoulders. And then release those arms. Swoop them down, up again. Cactus. All your breath out. Last time, up. Exhale. Lower down, stay. Relax your neck. Soften your skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Then melt again. Let your head relax. Step back to dog pose. Feel into the length of your body again. Return home to your breathing. Let's come forward into a plank. Feel that sense of steadiness, groundedness. Okay, stretch your heels back. Integrate the core. Feel your hands move into the earth. All right. Put your knees down first if you need it. Come to the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times. Just feel into the back body. Say hello to your back body. Welcome. Inhale. Open up your chest. Cobra pose. Exhale. And melt back down. Again, rising up. And then melting to release. Come up on tall fours. Move your spine about. Swish, swish, swish. All right, let's go ahead and come to dog pose, or just bring your right foot forward here, whichever feels better. Lengthen through your sides. Feel into your breath. Your right foot comes forward when you are ready. Hands can come on blocks or they can go on the ground, whichever feels nice. Let's start to move here, straightening, bending your front knee. So feel into the way that your body is able to move. Enjoy, feel the abundance of your range of motion. seeking some gratitude for all that you have. All right, drop in, feel the weight of your feet. When you're ready, rise up. Feel that sense of length and space. As you move, remember that sense that we're not stealing from our 100-year-old joints. We're protecting and caring for our 100-year-old joints. How's your back knee feeling? How are your shoulders feeling? How's your low back? Are you stabilizing in all the ways you know how? All right, release your hands down to the block. Walk your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana. Release your neck. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt again. Fold. Step your other foot back. Our left foot is now forward. Lunging here. Chest is open and free. And then let's start to move. Enjoy the feeling of your body. Enjoy the movement of your breath. Enjoy the range of motion that's available right now. Ground. Rise up when you feel ready. Same. Where are your limbs? How are you self-supporting? Do you need to bend your back knee at all? Do you need to use your core a little bit more to stabilize your pelvis? Do you need to have your arms down instead of up or out? So just find the ways that works for right now. Keep into the softness of your skull and the base of your neck. Relax. Feel your shoulders drop down just a little bit more. Press your front heels so you feel the invigoration of your legs, the support of your legs. Release the hands down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward, fold into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt and relax. All right, come to a squat. Take your feet to the edges of the mat, maybe even a little wider. Drop down. You can turn your toes out if that's how your body likes, or your feet straight. Just track your knees well. If you have a knee or hip issue that's kind of making you kind of lean to one side, come up high enough until you get to a place where your legs are symmetrical, that you have the capacity to equally support. Doesn't matter how high that is, doesn't matter how low that is. Find your breath. All right, we're going to come all the way up to standing star. Big open breath. Heel toe your feet a little closer. And then stand in Tadasana for a moment. So just enjoy this sense of balance. 2 feet on the ground. Big breaths in. Subtle breaths out. Feel that slight pause on the end of the exhale. I am enough. I have enough. I do enough. All right, let's take our feet a little bit wider. Okay, turn your toes out. Let's start with our flowing goddesses. So inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, bring that energy down into your body. Remember, it doesn't matter how low you go in the goddess squats. Inhale, energy comes back up. Your breath pace. Exhale to squat down. Try to keep your torso upright. Come back up on your breath in. One more. When we get down there, we're going to stay. Okay. So feel into, and it doesn't matter, if your knee's bothering you or your hip, then come up a little higher. You don't have to be super low, and you can be very low. So if you're like, oh, I like deep,
then go for it, as long as you're able to be self-supporting. Track open your knees, try to keep them in line with your middle toes. Feel the chest open, relax your shoulders down. How's your exhales? Spin the drivers of your feet, toes turn out, heels pull forward. Wake up those outer hip muscles. And then straighten your legs. Standing star, turn back to the front of your mat for dog pose. Take your feet to the edges of the mat and turn your toes in. Feel that change. Now we're internally rotating our femur bones. Take the heads of those thigh bones back. Breath in and a full breath out. Put your feet back to neutral. Come forward into a plank. Okay. And then let's lower our body down onto the ground. Inhale, cobra pose. And then exhale and release. We're going to bring our left knee up high toward our armpit and just get into a little bit of compression in that hip joint. Okay, move your blocks out of the way. We're going to take our right arm, cross it over to the left, and twist open. Let your head rest on the ground. Feel into the chest, let it receive the openness. Allow your knee to leave the floor so that you're not battling a deep twist in your body. Feel the abundance of your breath here. Fill it up, empty it out. Come back to center. Change sides. Right knee up. Feel that compression in the hip. Find your breath. When you're ready, cross the left arm over to the right, and we're swinging open into this gentle passive twist. Let the knee leave the floor. Feel your chest open. Adjust your right arm and move it around. Maybe you want it a little higher up toward your head. Maybe you want it a little further out toward the side. Just feel what's going to open your heart, open your breath. Come back round to center. Come up onto all fours when you feel ready and move your spine about. Okay, so free things up. Move into your breath. Find dog pose when you feel like you are ready for it. Okay, remember you can always skip dog poses if you want to just come up to stand. We're moving towards some standing poses. Lengthen through your spine here, breathe. And then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up. We're going to come into tree pose. So standing on your right foot, you can use a wall or a piece of furniture if you need some support. And your left toes can be on the floor. Your left foot can be up on your shin somewhere or up on your thigh somewhere. Try not to have your heel at your knee. So if you always bring your leg way up, maybe today try to see what it feels like to have your foot lower. And one is not better than the other. It's just a different sensation and effort that goes on in your hip joint. And like I said, if you need some support, having something to put your hand on can be very helpful, or a wall. So find the pose that's right for you for today. Hug your hip in, your right hip in. Feel that standing thigh move back and let the knee relax. Okay, so we're not locking out the knee. Bring the arms wherever you want them to be. Open your body up. A full inhale and a complete full exhale. All the walking on ice that we've all been doing the last week or two. Release your foot down onto the ground, shake that out. You know, these practices of balance help us so much. And it's not because we hold a pose and we don't move. It's the movement that happens when we kind of are a little imbalanced in our yoga practice that really feeds the nervous system and gives it the capacity to respond when you are faced with a sudden shift of gravity, right? So don't have the goal that you're not going to move, that you're going to lock this pose up. Okay, so breathe, let your pose be fluid, challenge yourself so that you do go off balance. So if you're very steady, close your eyes or lift your chin and look up and feel what it does to your sense of balance so that you have that training in the nervous system. Now, try not to hold. There's nothing to grasp here. There's nothing to take. Okay, so the pose is not something we hoard. It's something we are moving through. We're just experiencing sensation and breath. Try not to attach to I'm good at balance, I'm bad at balance. And relax and melt that, let it go. And do whatever you want to release the posture. Inhale, arms come up, open the chest. Be so thankful for the groundedness of 2 feet. And then trace down through the center line of your body. You can have your feet hip width apart so you feel broad and supported by the earth. Samastitihi, hands together. Take a moment to receive your breath here. Give your breath away. I am enough. I do enough. I have enough. There's nothing I need to take. There's nothing I need to hoard. Let's go ahead and find our way to the side of our mat. So have a block handy if you need it. Take your legs wide, turn your right foot out. Inhale, arms come up. And then exhale, come into Virabhadrasana 2. Now, if you like to flow, then flow a little bit. You can straighten your leg and bend your knee, just kind of getting that hip joint to find its way. If you like to just be still and that's what helps ground you, then be still. Allow your breath to come no matter what you're doing with your body, you are breathing fully. Allow the shoulders to soften, the yielding into your feet drop. And if you need to go a little higher, go a little higher. Remember, your pose is enough. There's no requirement that your thigh is at a right angle to the earth. If your knee or any joint or just your energy level today needs you to be a little higher, then be a little higher. Reverse that warrior, stretch into the side body, enjoy the openness of your rib cage. And then let's find our way into Parsvakonasana, open up through your side. Enjoy the fullness of that left side of your body opening and lengthening. Feel even spaciousness on both sides of your rib cage. The shoulders slide away from the ears, the feet, both of them ground. Again, if you need to be a little higher, be a little higher. You can put your hand on your knee instead of your elbow on your knee. Come back up. And then turn to the other side and find the beauty of these poses. You know, we do these standing poses a lot. So if you, what's different today? What is needed in your body today? So drop that knee. See what it feels like to bend. If you want to have a little bit of movement, you can have a little bit of movement, kind of going back and forth before landing in the pose. All right, remember, you don't have to go all the way down. Your knee can be slightly bent. It doesn't have to be deeply bent. Try whatever your height you're achieving in the pose. Try to track your knee in line with the middle toes instead of letting your knee cave toward the big toe side of your foot. Allow your sit bone to drop down and slightly move forward. Okay, so you get that feeling that the hip is opening. Drop some weight into the back heel. The thighs are feeling that, or your feet are feeling that rootedness so that you can rise up through the body. Now, when you feel ready, you can reverse your warrior and reach your arm up. Feeling that sense of space and length, and then eventually coming into Parsvakonasana when you feel ready. Shoulders drop down away from the ears, feeling into that openness of the heart space. Drop some energy into your feet. Shoulders keep descending, so it's easy to creep, creep, creep up toward the ears, descend, have some spaciousness in your skull, your jaw, your eyes. Feel the roots of your feet, press them down. We're still tracking that knee in line with the middle toes. All right, straighten up the leg, come back. Feel into that wide-legged stance. Okay, heel toe your feet in a little bit more. We're going to come a little, we did a squat in the earlier part of class and then a goddess pose. Kind of come into goddess width or a little bit more narrow. But now we're going to lean forward and allow your elbows to kind of open up the inner knees. Feel those inner thighs stretch open, relax your neck. All right, and then eventually straighten your legs, bring your body back to your mat for dog pose. Hands and feet down. You can internally rotate your legs if that feels good to counter the standing poses, whatever feels right. Okay, come forward into a plank. When you're ready, we're going to come onto our knees and find our way into Vasisthasana. Now you can have your knee on the ground, and so right side, we're going to take the right hand, the right knee, and the left foot. Or if you feel inclined, you can stack your 2 feet on top of each other so that you're just on your right hand and your right foot. So choose a pathway that is supportive and good for your body today. And remember to draw your shoulder blades down your back. See, whatever your posture is, we want to have that stability of support for our hand. Open up through your chest. Full breaths. Now, if it's comfortable, stretch your arm overhead. Feel that full side body length. And then release and come down to child's pose. Settle your hips back toward the heels. Full breaths here. When we feel ready, we're going to come to the other side. So now we have our left hand, our left knee, our right foot, or our left hand and our left foot with our right foot stacked on top. So whichever way you want to do the posture, shoulders down away from the ears, stretch your heart open to your hands. Breathe well. Keep that shoulder blade supporting your body. If it feels comfortable, try to stretch your arm over your head. If that's too much, then just keep your hands straight up in the air. Exhale, relax to come out of it. Child's pose again. Let your back soften. Let your hands relax. You can roll your wrists while you're here. Breathing well. All right, now we're going to repeat this, but definitely on our knee this time, and we're going to change the angle of our lower leg. So as we come onto the right hand and the right knee and the left foot, have your shin parallel to your mat so that we are all lined up on one line. Your hand, your shin, and your foot are all on one plane. So this is trickier for balance. Drop your shoulders away from the ears and feel into what's happening in your legs. Okay, so press your shin a little bit into the ground. Open up your pelvis. Ground through your back foot. Whatever part of it's touching, root into the earth. And then release that. Switch sides. Our left hand, our left shin, and our right foot all lined up on one small line. Okay, so we're not turning our shin to be perpendicular to our mat. Our shin is parallel to our mat. Open up, shoulders away from the ears. Press your shin a little bit into the ground. Feel into whatever's here for your hips. So there's a lot of rotation that's happening in that hip on the floor. All right, and then relax. Come down to child's pose. Relax for a moment. Find your breath again. I am enough. I have enough. I do enough. Let's find our way up to a dog pose or just come up to stand, whichever is the best way for your body to transition. Discover your breath as you're moving. Eventually, we'll all find our way to standing. Okay, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Use a block if you like. We're going to turn our right foot out. I don't have a lot of room, so I'm going to do this pose with a narrow stance, but you can start this in triangle pose, Parsvakonasana, Virabhadrasana, whichever feels good. We're going to keep your foot from pointing in weird directions. So your right foot is pointing straight toward the short edge of your mat. Bend your knee, and we're going to come on up into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Block is there to support us. You can take your block a little bit more to the pinky toe side if you feel the need for a little bit more balance. Engage that leg in the air. Engage your core. Feel your shoulders move away from the ears. Standing leg, are you hyperextended? Can you melt into that knee? So let your balance be a little tricky. It's okay. Keep breathing. Come on up when you feel ready. All right, so pause in between. Just feel into that beautiful groundedness of 2 feet. Feel the abundance of support below you. When we're ready, we'll move to the second side. So left foot. Toes are pointing toward the short edge of your mat. We're not going to let our foot turn in or out. So we're really stable in where your femur bone is going to land in your hip joint. If you turn your toes in, you're going to do weird things with your hip. So keep your foot planted, hop up when you're ready, come from whatever pose is right. You can always put your foot against a wall. You can always pull the piece of furniture instead of a block. You can take your block further to the pinky toe side for a little extra balance. Engage your core, engage that leg in the air. Maybe your arm comes up too, maybe your head turns to the sky. All these things are optional, okay? Find your breath. If you're wobbly, this is a good thing. Try not to hoard the pose. See what you can do to let your breath take you through the sensations. Even if you fall down, that's great. Let your body be in flow. Try not to seal the pose and lock it up. Let it be a moving, breathing thing. As you're ready, come out of there and find your way to standing again. Put your feet wherever you want, close by, far apart. Stand here for a moment. Feel the effort that you just did in your legs kind of drain down toward the earth. And feel how supportive the earth is to you. So, as we often do, imagine your diaphragm loosening. Bring your diaphragm into your second diaphragm of your pelvic floor. The knee joints, the soles of the feet, everything softening and receiving. I am enough. I have enough. I do enough. There's nothing I need to take from the future generations, from my family, from myself, from my friends. I don't need to Take anything that does not belong to me, and everything that does belong to me, I can release. Detach what you can. Allow abundance to flow like it's the energy that's moving through your body. Big breath in, stretch up. Exhale and float forward. Relax your back, soften your skull. A halfway lift. Relax again. Come to child's pose. Take your hips back for a moment. Okay, when you feel ready, we're going to take a supported bridge pose. So block underneath your pelvis. If you like to go super high, then stack 2 blocks under your pelvis. Make sure that the block or blocks is across, not in line with your spine, but across, so that your pelvis and your sacrum are landing on it. Melt here. See if you can get the breath to move deeply into your lungs. Feel all the displacement of your internal organs as your diaphragm moves. See if you can relax the pelvic floor and the belly enough to receive breath. If it feels nice, you can take a little bit different positioning. You can bring your knees toward your chest or bring your legs straight up. Yeah, whatever feels good for you. We'll stay for a few more breaths, so take any variations of being on this block. Make sure you're symmetrical. So if you have a desire for asymmetry, try to hold off. Place your feet down onto the ground, get that block out of there. Okay. Lift your hips, scoot them over to the right, pick up your knees and drop them to the left, finding a twist. Any variations on this that feels good? If you want to straighten your top leg and stretch your outer hip, you can do that. If you want to, whatever, there's however you like to transition. We're in the, final pose of our practice before Shavasana. So as you move through this, if there's something you want to add, go ahead and add. Feet come back to neutral, pelvis neutral, scoot your hips to the other side. Full inhale, complete exhale. Even here, can you feel that sense of the bottom of the exhale having a teeny pause? And when you are ready to be done, this is your time to complete your practice. So if there's any other posture that your body needs, take it. If you'd like to have support for Shavasana with blankets or bolsters or whatever you want, start to get warm. Whatever it is that your body is requiring for being able to rest well in Shavasana. Take your time, there's no rush if you're doing other postures. As you settle, remember to feel into your bones and let them sink to the bottom. So as much weight as you can drop. Great.
that includes your head. Sometimes we have this desire to not fully drop our skull. Feel into the surrender of your face. Feel the wrinkles just soften and surrender. Your jaw releases. Let's begin to deepen the breathing. Feel the weight of your body one more time. Eventually begin to move your body however feels good. Moving over onto your side as you feel ready.
Come up to sit in a comfortable seat. Place your hands together at your heart. Let's bow. Offer the energy of your practice. Feel this abundance, this ability to both give and receive what is needed at any moment. Offer your energy to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.